I want to go back to your kind of traditional chiropractic training. For most people and what they think chiropractic care is,
Sure.
compare that to what you actually learn as a chiropractor and the different things that you are able to help people with. Because again, I think most morons like myself would just think, okay, he's a chiropractor, he's adjusting the spine, they help with back pain, and that's kind of about it. And talking with you over the years and learning from you, it's so much more than that.
Yeah, that's a great question. And sadly, with most of our professions, even if I said, I see the work that you put in with your clients in the self-study you do to give your clients the best. So if I said, "Oh, I'm going on a podcast with a personal trainer," they're going to just think the guy at Planet Fitness, right? They don't know the depth of your now. So my profession, like yours and other professions, kind of get stereotyped into what people think. So actually, chiropractic was started in 1895, and the first patient, Harvey Lillard, had no pain. He was deaf. He had strained himself. He went deaf. D.D. Palmer at the time was a magnetic healer in Davenport, Iowa, thought he could help him with magnetic healing. That didn't work. Through his analysis, the story goes, he found a lump on Harvey's back, pushed it back into place, very probably not as finessefully as we hope to do today, and his hearing restored. So it was like, holy cow, I found the cure for deafness, right? So he thought he had something. So he advertised, hey, I found the cure for deafness, and people from the tri-state area came deaf to receive D.D. Palmer's care. And guess what? Probably most of them left still deaf because it wasn't an A plus B equals a C relationship. But what he had noticed is some people with maybe a heart condition responded, or somebody with a sugar condition or an ailment or a back pain or neck pain. So whatever was connected. And this was a period of time when medicine was at blood theory. It was people were being leeched or bloodletting because they thought it was bad blood in the body. So D.D. Palmer was really one of the first to say, hey, this is a neurological connection. And then that made sense. So the spine, in essence, became almost like a circuit breaker. So if there's a dysfunction or nerve pressure, we call it a subluxation in that chain of bones, whatever is connected to that isn't going to work as well as it should be. And we think, we dumb it down to the point of like you step on a garden hose and whatever's connected to it is dumb and dying and whatever. But it's much more subtle than that, because you could have a problem or nerve pressure in your spine, just like a cavity or a tooth, for years or decades until there's enough breakdown of tissue, you're not going to express pain. So sadly, a lot of times people will seek chiropractic care for often a last resort because they've tried everything else and it's not working for them, or B, for the neck pains, headaches, and things like that, which we are very, very effective in managing. But yet they miss that window of either it be a optimization of health or wellness or prevention. And then sometimes we see patients who are desperate and have no other avenues to go, and we can help them whether or not it will cure X, Y, or Z. And certainly our point isn't to cure somebody. It's to remove that, again, interference or obstruction to healing that we feel occurs in the spine and nervous system so that their body can better express itself in whatever that might be. Sadly, it doesn't happen with everybody, but we'll see children with chronic ear infections. One of my first things that got me into the ketogenic lifestyle was that patient or that family that had their daughter with severe seizure disorder. I mean, her life was completely ruined. So not only did they try to monitor or maintain her seizures, she was under every specialist in Boston or whatever. They were using the ketogenic diet, and that's what clicked for me. It brought me back to some of the stuff I learned back in the early 90s, Atkins stuff. And then they wanted to incorporate chiropractic to bring the tone of her nervous system down. So she helped me probably as much as I helped her. But so we see all kinds of cases. I just had a 90-year-old guy who came in because he wants to, he comes in routinely once a month, but he's coming in more often because he has to dance at his granddaughter's wedding in January. So he wants to be in shape for that. No pain, but the guy's 93. Yeah, he's going to have some pain. And then I had another woman just yesterday. She blew her back out Christmas morning, moving Christmas presents, and she crawled in yesterday. So we see that gamut, but chiropractic has so much more to offer. Just like our approach to diet has so much more to offer than losing weight, right? People go on keto to lose weight. No, your life is going to change. And I feel if you're under chiropractic care, your life is going to change as well.
Love that.
Exercise, get out there and move. Your life is going to change. It takes effort to maintain and achieve or restore health.
Yeah. Wow. I love that. Going back to your personal story and that conversation you had where you're realizing, somebody who's been doing this a very, very long time was noticing that people aren't healing as much as possible. You gave the cement analogy, and maybe our ingredients are not the same. What we're dealing with in our day-to-day lives, the stress, the electronics you mentioned, like our diet being so much poorer. From that moment on, how long did it take you to arrive at some of the conclusions that you eventually did about things like the low carbohydrate diet, ketogenic diets, carnivore diets, because that is, very much not mainstream. Now you're a chiropractor, so you're used to kind of bucking up against the mainstream, which
Sure.
we love you guys for. But yeah, how long did it kind of take you to realize that your coworker, your colleague was correct and there was something wrong, but then the answer was what you conclude today, which is that a carnivore diet is kind of the place to land.
Yeah, I mean, I think it became a study of one per se, and I really think that it was that realization that, I myself, like a Ken Berry story, right? I'm helping other people, but my health is deteriorating. You look at some of the pictures, and I'm like, wow, I'm not as healthy as I should be. And talking with him, I'm like, yeah, you're right. I get it. I don't think we're healthy. I'm not as healthy as I think I should be. And then bringing that family into me who ketogenic diet, like that sparked my interest. And then that brought me back to some conversations in school, because back in the early 90s, coming out of the bodybuilding era, everybody was carbo loading. So that was my reference point to nutrition. And then I had this professor in chiropractic school who was trying to reverse his type 2 diabetes by just eating bacon and eggs. I couldn't even put my head around that. I thought this guy was a kook, right? So I passed the class, whatever, but it always was like this guy was even crazier about health than I could even digest. And I was off the rails, right? So then that's a ketogenic. So then I put those pieces together. Thankfully, one of the good things about the web is we were able to kind of have a broader based research. I was like, oh, that's what that guy was trying to talk about, but he wasn't doing a good job because he didn't have the knowledge or the resources. Okay, so then as a study of one, I said, let me try it because it was counterculture at the time. If we're going back 10 years now, doing keto was like, oh my, you're gonna die. You're gonna die. Like I'm like, yeah, bring it on. Let's try it. So I like the counterculture stuff anyway. And I tried it and I was like, oh my God, I feel great. And people wouldn't see you in 6 months and they'd be like, you look great, but are you dying of cancer? Like you look totally different. So then that was sparking conversations. People are like, Doc, what are you doing? Yeah, because they were seeing the changes in me and my energy and all of that. And then I started to understand it more. And then that's really kind of when you think about like even your journey into podcast, that whole, I was doing it, we were probably all doing it before the pandemic. And then the pandemic came and then just, bleh, everybody's got information. So there's informational overload. So then I was like, I feel comfortable about sharing this with some of my patients. And then, here we go. So I really think the journey and the understanding was global, but yet it didn't start until I started to change myself. And then the biggest message or the biggest thing I could sell people is they see the change in me and they're like, oh my, how old are you? We're talking, oh, I'm 53 now. And they're like, oh my God, right. So they see my fitness journey because I've changed, I take care of some of the same people for 25 years. So they've grown with me. I'm like, oh my God, you look so much better. So it's helped me and then I'm able to help them. So that has then given me the confidence to get together and say, I got to put some of these thoughts on paper because in a 5 minute, 10-minute conversation with a patient, what are you going to do? So I love texting patients. I'll be like, I'll send them your episode on Sally about, whatever it might be. So I'm constantly texting. I'm like, I could probably condense this into one thing that I can say, here, read this, take it home, share it. If you don't like it, ask me about it. Let's talk about it. And that was one of the genesises of saying, writing a book. And I've always wanted to write a book, but your the carnivore teacher inspired me. I'm like, son of a gun. That guy's out there doing a great job. He wrote a book. I have patients to hand my book to. Why don't I write a book? And that was really, he really kicked me in the butt to consolidate a lot of the thoughts that I had.
Wow.
And I appreciate you saying it was like a conversational journey because I didn't want it to be a heady text. I wanted it to be, you can read a paragraph here or there, or just it's light. It's like a conversation between you and me. And that's what I wanted it for my patients or whoever might find value in.
Well, it definitely will be very valuable, and it fits that mold to where it is simple. You go into a lot of detail on stuff, but it's not overly aggressive. It's one that I would feel very confident sharing with most people around, even on the street, if they'd never heard of a carnivore diet. It's a great introduction. It's a great introduction to your work as well. I love the title. Obviously, that fits perfectly with what you do. And what were some of the main overarching messages that you wanted to share in your book?
Well, I think that, the chiropractic placement in the book could be replaced by personal training. If you took out personal training and then added the kind of the structure of the diet into that, a personal training client will improve by eating the carnivore diet. So I wanted it to be kind of universal, but yet share that message of what chiropractic originally was intended for and kind of how it can be balanced into a life other than just always seeking treatment of disease, right? I think life and healthcare should be a lot more than just, oh, I have an ailment, let me try to chase a solution. Well, how do I prevent even being sick? That's the ultimate goal. So I kind of putting these things together was in kind of laying it out, but I wanted people to be educated in why I say kind of some of the things I do, right? If we constantly say, well, seed oils are bad for you, well, why? Well, kind of here's a little bit of a history, but I'm not going to give you, I don't know that much about it. I get a broad scope of it. But now somebody may take that book and go, oh, that's what he was talking about. Let me do a search on it. And then they stumble across you and listen to Sally Norton and like, wow, okay, gee, now I get what he's getting.